Good afternoon, all. So today we are here for discuss some more interview preparation question on hierarchical clustering. So as we all know that what is mean by clustering? Clustering nothing but what? It is unsupervised machine learning technique. It will group similar observation or similar element which having same type of characteristics or observations we can say. And if we are taking two different clusters, then there's two different clusters may have a different observation. They can't match the criteria or characteristics with each other. So today's first question is, what is a hierarchical clustering algorithm? What is hierarchical clustering algorithm? What is hierarchical clustering algorithm? What is hierarchical clustering? It is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm is used to form or group unlabeled data set into single group. Okay. It is called as cluster. Okay, or we can say single cluster. It is also known as HCA. That is hierarchical clusters, okay, algorithm analysis. In this, we try to create hierarchy hierarchy of cluster which we have formed with the characteristics or similar types of elements are in the single clusters in the form of tree. Okay, it is called as dendrogram. It is called as dendrogram. Okay, this is hierarchical clustering. Second question is, what is type of hierarchical clustering? What are the types or what are the various types of hierarchical clustering? What are the types of hierarchical clustering? What are types of hierarchical clustering? What are various types of hierarchical clustering? First one is agglomerative, and second one is divisive. These are the two types of hierarchical clustering. So let's what is agglomerative? What is agglomerative hierarchical clustering? What is agglomerative hierarchical clustering? What is agglomerative hierarchical clustering? There are two types of hierarchical clustering, that is agglomerative and divisive. So what is agglomerative hierarchical clustering? Okay. It is bottom up technique. Okay. In which algorithms start with taking, in which algorithm start with taking all the data point as a single cluster. All data points, okay, as a single cluster. And merging them until no single cluster left. Okay, or at least one leaf, we can say one cluster is left. Okay, it is a bottom-up approach in which algorithms start taking all data points as a single cluster and and merging them until one cluster is left. Okay, now we'll see what is divisive hierarchical clustering. What is divisive hierarchical clustering? 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 What is divisive? Divisive is opposite with the agglomerative hierarchical clustering. Okay. It is nothing but what? It is top. Okay. Top to down, we can say. It is top to down approach. Okay. Here in this case, we are getting all the clusters, and divisive will separate them. Okay. Till we are not getting different clusters, or we can say we are till we are separating that cluster until we are not getting a single leaf. Okay. How tree structure we having. So fifth question is steps. What are the steps of the agglomerative algorithm are follows? What are the steps in agglomerative clustering? What are the steps in agglomerative clustering follows? What are the steps of the agglomerative clusters algorithms follow? First one is compute the proximity matrix. Compute the proximity matrix. Second one is each data point to be clustered. What is the third one? Third one it will repeat. Okay. Repeat what? Repeat the steps where it combine the two closest cluster and accordingly update the proximity matrix. Till that, it will repeat. It will repeat the. It will repeat this stage, third stage, where it combine two. It will combine two clusters, closest cluster, and accordingly update the proximity. Update the proximity matrix. And the last step is it will repeat the third step, or it will update that proximity matrix and combine the clusters until what? Until only single cluster remain. Okay. So these are the steps which takes place in agglomerative algorithm, where first we compute the proximity matrix, then each data type to be cluster. Okay, after that we combine two closest cluster. Okay, likewise we are going to take proximity matrix and calculate the distance, and we are keep going and keep combine the cluster last till what? Till we are not getting one single cluster remains. Okay, until that step we are going to combine our clusters. Okay, next question is, that is sixth one. Okay. Explain the different. Explain the different linkage method. Okay, what are the different method used in agglomerative or hierarchical clustering? Used in hierarchical clustering. Okay, what are the different linkage method? We are saying that we are going to calculate the proximity matrix. So what is the criteria there? How we are going to calculate the distance between two clusters? So there are some linkage method. By using that, we are going to calculate the distance between the element or distance between the clusters, and we are forming the clusters, okay, on that basis, on that the distance basis. So what are the different linkage method are available? Hi all, no single reply, no answer. Please reply, guys. What do you think? What are the different linkage methods are available in hierarchical clustering? What are the different linkage method? First one is complete linkage. Okay. What is meant by complete linkage? It is nothing but distance between two clusters. Okay. Second one is single linkage. It is nothing but what? Distance between single linkage is nothing but distance between two clusters okay is defined as minimum distance between two data point in each cluster. Okay, single linkage is the distance between two data point in each cluster. What is the next one? Is average linkage. Is nothing but what? Average linkage. What is happening in average linkage? It is the average distance, average distance between each data point in one cluster. Okay, between each data point in each cluster. That is the average. To every data point in other cluster. Okay, what is the average distance? Average linkage is nothing but what? It is the distance between each data point to every data point in a other cluster. What is the last one? That is centroid linkage. Here centroid of a cluster. Okay, we can say cluster 1, then we'll get to know difference. Cluster 1 and the centroid of cluster 2 and the centroid of cluster 2, and then calculate the distance between two. Calculate the distance between two clusters, okay, before merging. What is centroid linkage is nothing but what? The distance between cluster 1 and cluster 2. Okay. We are going to calculate the centroid distance between cluster 1 and cluster 2. Now my next question is, list down the pros and cons hierarchical clustering, or you can say pros and cons for complete and single linkage method. Complete and single linkage method. Okay. What is the pros and cons? What is the pros and cons? So first we will see Pros of single linkage. Okay. It can differentiate between non-elliptical shapes as long as the gap between as long as the gap between the two cluster is not small. The two cluster is not small. Okay. Now what is the cause? Okay, for single linkage is it cannot separate clusters properly. If there is a noise between cluster, okay, if there is a noise between clusters. Now, what is the pros for complete linkage? Complete linkage. This approach it gives well separating clusters. It can give well separate separating cluster if there is some kind of noise present between cluster. Present in cluster. So that is a advantage in complete linkage. So what is the cons we can say in this complete linkage? The first one is it is biased toward, okay, it is biased towards the clusters. Okay, and the second one is it is not able to break large cluster. Okay. So these are the methods for hierarchical clustering. There is a central, single, average. Okay, now we have seen the advantage and disadvantage of single linkage. Okay, What is the pros for single linkage? It is differentiate between non-elliptical shapes as long as the gap between two clusters is not small. Okay, what is it cannot be separate clusters properly if there is a noise between the clusters. In this incomplete linkage, it is different case. Like it is a separate cluster if there is a noise is present. Okay, and but it is not able to break large clusters and it is biased towards the clusters. Okay, which is globular. Like we can say it is when it is a global where. Okay. Globular, in that sense it is bias. Okay, we'll see the next question. Okay, what is dendrogram? Okay, in hierarchical clustering algorithm. What is dendrogram in hierarchical clustering algorithm? What is dendrogram? What is dendrogram? What is dendrogram? It is tree-like a structure. Okay. It includes x-axis and y-axis. Okay, it includes x-axis and y-axis. How it can be separate clusters or element by using Euclidean distance. Okay, between the observation, it can calculate the distance and it decide for the clusters. Next question is, what is space and time complexity of the HCA? What is space and time complexity of the hierarchical clustering algorithm. Space and time complexity. Yeah, guys, bottom-up approaches. This topic is new for what? Like these questions are too simple or too complicated for you guys. You are not replying today. Yes, Rathod, Swati. What happened? Is this too simple or too complicated for you guys? You are not able to answer today. Today, less reply I'm getting. What is space and time complexity? Okay. First of all, we'll say space. Okay, what is space complexity? In this technique, it requires very large space. Okay, very large high space, because when the number of cluster or when the number of observation in our data set is more, okay, in that scenario we'll need more space. Okay, what is time complexity? What is time? Since in this case, what we have to do, we have to do iterations. Okay, we have to do a number of clusters and we have to check which we have to calculate the Euclidean distance, and then we have to take that element or particular observation into particular cluster. So there are a number of iteration we can say execute. Okay, in this scenario, what we have to perform an iterations, perform and iterations. Iterations, and in each iteration and each iteration we need to update proximity. We need to update proximity matrix. Okay, and also restore that matrix. And also restore that matrix. So that's why the time complexity is also very high. Okay. So that's why time complexity is very high. Okay. So next one will take. Next question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of hierarchical clustering algorithm? What are the advantages and disadvantages what are the advantages and disadvantages of SCA, of hierarchical clustering algorithm? We can obtain the optimal number of cluster from number of cluster from the model itself. Okay, that is the advantage. And as we are saying, we are using dendrogram. So we can say dendrogram helps us in clear visualization. Okay, what is the disadvantage? As we already know, that is the time and complexity in the hierarchical clustering. Okay, so there we can say there is not suitable for large data set. It is not suitable for large data set. Okay, because of this space and time complexity. So this is the advantage for dendrogram, and this is the advantages and disadvantages from hierarchical clustering. Okay, there is a because of time and space complexity, that is the disadvantage. But sometimes because of dendrogram, it is clear visualization we get. Okay, number of clusters are clear. Okay, guys. Yes. So thank you guys. We'll see tomorrow. Bye.